Have you ever worked so hard to keep your place that you almost lost yourself in the process? There was a woman named Evelyn who had worked for the same company for 27 years. She was dependable. She arrived early. She remembered customers' names, trained new employees, corrected mistakes before they became expensive problems, and knew how to calm an angry client without making promises the company could not keep. Evelyn was not flashy. She was not the loudest person in the room. She didn't spend her days trying to impress the decision makers. She simply knew how to do her job, and she did it well. Then the company began to change. At first, the changes seemed manageable. There was a new scheduling system, then a new customer database, then virtual meetings, automated reports, digital dashboards, artificial intelligence assistants, and software that seemed to be updated every time Evelyn finally learned where all the buttons were. Every Monday morning, another email appeared in her inbox. Please complete this training. Please begin using this platform. Please discontinue the old process. Please incorporate the new AI tools into your daily workflow. The instructions always sounded so simple. Just watch the video. Just download the application. Just create an account. Just connect your files. Just generate the report. Just learn one more system while completing the same amount of work, meeting the same deadlines, answering the same telephone, and helping everyone else who was also confused. Isn't it interesting how the word just is often placed in front of something that is about to consume 3 hours of your day? Evelyn tried. She took notes in a spiral notebook. She highlighted instructions. She watched tutorials at night while eating dinner. Sometimes she replayed the same section 4 or 5 times because the young man teaching the lesson flipped through the screens as if he were being chased. She paused. She rewound. She tried again. Her younger coworkers seemed to move through the program without fear. They clicked, dragged, uploaded, synced, prompted, and automated. Evelyn stared at the screen, wondering where she had accidentally deleted the entire company. She had not. But for 7 frightening minutes, she believed she had. Still, she kept learning. She practiced before work. She stayed late. She wrote passwords on pieces of paper, then learned that she wasn't supposed to write passwords on pieces of paper. She created stronger passwords, forgot the stronger passwords, reset the stronger passwords, and was told she could not reuse any of the previous stronger passwords. Technology was supposed to save time. Evelyn was beginning to wonder whose time it was saving. But she didn't complain. She was afraid that if she asked too many questions, someone might decide that she could no longer keep up. So every time more work was placed before her, she smiled and said, "I'll take care of it." Every time a new system was introduced, she told herself, "I can learn this too." Every time she felt embarrassed, she swallowed it. Every time she felt exhausted, she worked harder. What no one seemed to notice was that Evelyn was not failing. She was carrying 2 jobs. She was doing the work she had always done while teaching herself an entirely new way to do it. The company gave her new technology, but very little time. It gave her instructions, but very little support. It praised innovations while quietly treating experience as if it had passed its expiration date. One afternoon, Evelyn was called into a meeting. Her manager was there, along with a much younger executive Evelyn barely knew. They spoke carefully. They talked about modernization, efficiency, restructuring, and the future of the company. You know, something serious is about to happen when people use four large words to avoid saying one small, honest sentence. Finally, they said it. Evelyn's position was being terminated, eliminated. After 27 years, she was given a folder, a polite handshake, and instructions explaining how to return her company equipment. The people in that room saw an older employee who had struggled to adjust. They didn't see the nights she had spent studying. They didn't see the pages of notes. They didn't see how many frightened customers trusted Evelyn because she listened to them instead of rushing them. They didn't see the employees she had quietly trained or the problems she had prevented. They saw what she could not do as quickly as someone else. They completely overlooked what no machine had ever been able to replace: her judgment, her patience, her ability to understand people. Evelyn walked to her car carrying a cardboard box filled with 27 years of her life: a coffee mug, two framed photographs, a small plant, several certificates, and the spiral book where she had written down everything she was learning about artificial intelligence. She sat behind the steering wheel and cried. Not because she believed the company was her family. Evelyn was far too intelligent for that. She cried because she had given them some of the strongest years of her life, and they had allowed her to leave feeling as though those years no longer mattered. For several weeks, she barely touched her computer. Every time she looked at it, she heard those words: restructuring, efficiency, the future. She began to wonder whether the future had room for a woman her age. Then one morning, Evelyn received a call from her friend Margaret. Margaret ran a small home care agency and was overwhelmed by paperwork. She needed help organizing client information, writing follow-up messages, creating employee training materials, and responding to families. "I know you understand these systems," Margaret said. "Can you help me?" Evelyn almost laughed. Understand these systems? She still had to whisper a small prayer before attaching certain documents. But she also remembered something. She had spent months learning. She had notes. She had experience. And she understood exactly how frightening new technology could feel to someone who had not grown up with it. So Evelyn opened her spiral notebook. She used one of the AI programs the company had required her to learn. She created a simple training guide for Margaret's employees. Not a confusing manual filled with technical language, a clear guide written for real people. She showed them where to click. She explained what the tools could do. She warned them what information should never be entered. She reminded them to check the work because artificial intelligence can sound very confident while being completely wrong. For the first time, Evelyn was not being rushed. She was not being made to feel foolish. She could learn at her own pace, test what worked, and combine the technology with the wisdom she had already possessed. Margaret loved the guide. Then Margaret told another business owner. That business owner called Evelyn. Then someone from a church asked if she could teach a small class for older adults. Evelyn created a workshop called AI Without the Anxiety. She showed people how to use technology without allowing technology to intimidate them. She helped a retired teacher create a resume. She helped a caregiver organize a weekly schedule. She taught a grandmother how to identify an AI-generated scam. She helped a small business owner write customer messages without losing her personal voice. Evelyn soon realized that the challenge she thought that had disqualified her was preparing her to serve people nobody else had taken the time to understand. Every difficult training had given her knowledge. Every confusing update had taught her patience. Every moment of embarrassment had given her compassion. Every time she had struggled to understand something, she had been learning how to explain it to someone else. The company thought it was replacing her. Without realizing, the company had been training her. The tools that had once made her feel inadequate were now helping her build something of her own. But this time, Evelyn made the rules. She chose the clients. She set her schedule. She charged for her knowledge. She rested without feeling guilty. She no longer had to prove that she deserved a seat in a room where her experience had already been dismissed. She built the room. And she opened the door for other people who had been made to believe that the future was moving forward without them. Now, let me be clear. What happened to Evelyn was painful. Losing her job didn't seem wonderful. Being overlooked didn't feel like a blessing. The way she was treated was not acceptable, simply because something good eventually came from it. We don't have to rename mistreatment in order to rise above it. Sometimes people will hand you work they never intended to reward. Sometimes they will benefit from your loyalty and then question your value. Sometimes they will keep adding to your burden until you begin to believe that your exhaustion is evidence of your inadequacy. It is not. Being overwhelmed doesn't mean you're incapable. Needing time to learn doesn't mean you're unintelligent. And reaching the end of what you can carry does not mean you have reached the end of what you can become. Evelyn's life changed when she stopped asking, "How do I convince them that I still belong?" She began asking, "What can I build with everything I learned while I was trying to survive?" That is the question I want to leave you with this Feel Good Friday. What have you learned from the very experience that tried to break you? What strengths did you develop because someone underestimated you? What knowledge are you carrying away from the place that failed to appreciate it? Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was a marriage. Maybe it was a friendship. Maybe it was a season in which everyone needed something from you, but very few people stopped to ask what you needed. Whatever it was, you are not required to remain buried beneath it. Take the lesson. Take the experience. Take the wisdom. Take the part of yourself you had to discover when nobody came to your rescue. Then build. Build slowly if you must. Build differently than you planned. Build while you are healing. Build with trembling hands and an uncertain voice. But build, because no matter what used to break you, you can use what remains as the foundation for something new. Evelyn didn't return to the company and ask them to reconsider. She didn't stand outside waiting for an apology. She took the knowledge, courage, and compassion she had earned, and she created the life that had been waiting for her far beyond the office door. The future had not forgotten her. It was waiting for her to stop requesting permission to enter. And perhaps your future is waiting for you too. Not in the place that exhausted you, not in the hands of the people who underestimated you, but inside the wisdom you gained, the courage you developed, and the decision you make today to begin again. You were not destroyed, you were redirected. You were not too old. You were becoming experienced enough to recognize your own value, and you were never left behind. You were being prepared to lead in a way that only someone who has struggled, learned, survived, and rebuilt could ever lead. So take what was meant to make you feel small and use it to build something large enough to hold the person you are becoming. Your story is not over. The best part may be the part you finally get to write for yourself.
To build anyway. If they underestimated you, if they left you standing there, if you carried everybody while nobody seemed to care, take the lesson, take the wisdom, take the strength the struggle gave you. Are not the thing that happened, you are what you choose to make. Start slowly if you need to. Let your uncertain voice still shake. You don't have to see the whole road. You just have to take your place.